bouncing ball over the last 24 hours. A federal trade court voiding many of Mr. Trump's tariffs, ruling the president exceeded his authority and giving the White House a narrow window to comply. And then just hours ago, a separate U.S. court siding with the administration, ruling those tariffs can stay in place while appeals run their course. The ruling pausing the trade court decision, adding further uncertainty to U.S. trade policy. Despite it all, the administration conducting business as usual, moving forward with the negotiations with trading partners. Gabe Gutierrez is at the White House with that and a notable parting of ways at Doge.
Tonight, tariff whiplash. A federal appeals court ruling President Trump's tariffs can stay in place for now, temporarily pausing last night's ruling by the U.S. Court of International Trade that had blocked most of the president's sweeping tariffs and given the White House just 10 days to unwind them.
3 judges of the U.S. Court of International Trade disagreed and brazenly abused their judicial power to usurp the authority of President Trump to stop him from carrying out the mandate that the American people gave him.
President Trump relied on emergency powers outlined in a 1977 law to enact many of his tariffs, but the court said that use is impermissible, not because it is unwise or ineffective, but because that law does not allow it. Small businesses in a dozen states had filed the lawsuits.
It's just been surreal.
Victor Schwartz is the lead plaintiff and the founder of VOS Selections, a small New York-based wine company.
The tariffs are a cash flow killer, particularly impactful for a small business. This kind of uncertainty is terrible for business. It's impossible. You're just guessing.
The president still has other means of imposing tariffs on imported goods, and the White House says it will keep negotiating with other countries to reduce trade barriers on American products, despite the uncertainty. Why would other countries continue these trade deal negotiations?
Because other countries around the world have faith in the negotiator-in-chief, President Donald J. Trump. And they also probably see how ridiculous this ruling is, and they understand that the administration is going to win.
The tariff turmoil comes as one of the most visible members of the administration officially confirms he's leaving after his 130-day appointment as a special government employee. Elon Musk thanked the president for the opportunity to reduce wasteful spending while heading up the Department of Government Efficiency.
We thank him for his service. We thank him for getting Doge off of the ground, and the efforts to cut waste, fraud, and abuse will continue.
But tonight, the top Trump ally is also distancing himself from the White House.
It's not like I agree with everything the administration does. So it's like I agree with much of what the administration does, but we have differences of opinion.
Dave, let me also ask you about some striking comments tonight from the White House about the former First Lady.
Yes, Lester, the White House press secretary is accusing former First Lady Jill Biden of being, quote, complicit in a cover-up about her husband's decline while in the White House, and is calling on her to speak to House Republican investigators. Tonight, a Biden family spokesperson declined to comment. Lester?
Gabe Gutierrez, thank you. Now we turn to that crypto kidnapping case here in New York. New details tonight about 2 NYPD detectives who have been sidelined as the department looks into whether they're connected to the case. NBC's Sam Brock with that story.
Tonight, 2 members of the New York Police Department have been placed on modified duty, guns and badges temporarily taken, according to the NYPD, as they're investigated for any link to 2 crypto businessmen, John Waltz and William Duplessis, accused of kidnapping an Italian investor before his escape 17 days later and torturing him inside of a Soho townhouse, trying to pry away his Bitcoin password. Law enforcement sources familiar with the case say that includes a detective in Mayor Adams' security detail who was working off-duty at the time and provided security at that townhouse. The NYPD telling NBC News members of the service were modified yesterday. The matter is under internal review. How did this possible connection come to light?
Ever since this incident took place, detectives are scouring everything that happened. At some point, the detectives identified a couple of members of the NYPD that may have had interactions with the Italian tourist, and at that point, the investigation widens.
Terry Monahan is a former NYPD chief of department. Sources say that detective picked up the Italian tourist at the airport, but where they traveled next and whether either member had any knowledge of what was allegedly happening in that townhouse is under review.
Did they know anything that was going on? Were they involved in the criminality? This is all going to come out over the next couple of weeks as the investigation continues.
Monahan says any sort of off-duty security job has to be pre-approved. Whether this one is also part of the investigation. Mayor Adams not addressing the matter during a public appearance today, but a spokesperson told NBC News every city employee is expected to follow the law, including our officers, both on and off duty. We are disturbed by these allegations. Attorneys for both men accused of kidnapping and torture have declined to comment. Sam Brock, NBC News, New York.